everybody, so today I am here with the new Natasha Denona ROXA eyeshadow palette. I've got swatches of this and I'm going to try two different looks. One that's going to be more purpley, one that's going to try some of the pink shades. I'm going to need a lot of luck with this because these colours are not my colours. Although I do love to wear them, I love these colours, they just don't suit me very well. So it's going to be very interesting to see if these can work on my fair skin and with my blue eyes. Will they work or not? I really don't know, but I cannot wait to find out because I'm a massive fan of Natasha Denona. I collect all of her eyeshadow palettes and I cannot wait to try out these new matte formulas. And I've also got something I've been really excited about, the new Merit Perfume. So this has just literally launched a few days ago. This only arrived here with me yesterday. This one is called Retrospect. So I'm going to try this on for you today and let you know what I think of it. So I'll give you a bit more details. So if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 47, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I love to review the latest products, give you the latest beauty news and show you some of my favourite looks. If you think you'd be interested in this sort of content, I would love it so much if you liked and subscribed, and if you're already subscribed, thank you so very much for returning. You know I appreciate you all. And my skin tone, as we've already said, I've got fair skin, fair to light with neutral undertones and combination skin. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's get right on with this video. I'm going to start straight away with the ROXA palette. So first of all, here is my swatch video. So this palette is £64, but I'm hoping to get this out today, which is a Friday, and today the UK Sephora sale launched. So you can get 20% off this today from the UK Sephora sale. The sale will run from today, Friday, until Sunday. So today is the 25th of October, if you're watching this maybe later on. And if you want to get this reduced in the US Sephora sale, that sale begins on November the 1st. So I have linked those for you down below, so you can definitely get this a little bit cheaper. I do also have my 15% discount code, which you can use on the Natasha Denona website. So if you wanted to order direct from the website and you missed the sale, 15% is not too bad, so you can also use that. I'll just put my code below for you. It is working now, apparently. There was a few problems with the code, but I do believe it's working now. So we have a palette here that's very similar to the golden palette, which had that sort of gold bar effect, but this time we have a purpley bluey shifty sort of bar, if you like, but it is like that sort of liquid metal effect, isn't it? Even though obviously the colours are different. So I really do like this new style. You know, it's showing off all of my fingerprints at the moment. So this one is inspired by the Lila palette, I believe it was called. I don't have that in my collection, but that was Natasha's purpley based eyeshadow palette, and that was 7 years ago. So Natasha has been inspired to create a modern purple palette with playful hues for this holiday season, driven by a desire to elevate the notoriously tricky dry purple. So what she's done here is she's changed the formula of her mattes. These aren't cream to powder, these are now a silky matte formula, and I have to say from the swatches it is looking quite promising because they did not swatch in a patchy way at all, these purple, well, the mattes generally, but purple can be such a tricky colour to blend out. It's often very patchy, often very difficult. You can spend a very long time trying to get it to work. So I will be really interested to see exactly how good that is, and that's the first thing I'll be testing when I try this on in a minute. And more information, this is fallout free, it says, the mattes anyway, the pigment from the purple should be fallout free. So if that's true, I've got a full face of makeup on here, so I'm really hoping that's true. And obviously you don't want purple matte falling onto your makeup because that really will spoil your makeup, so hopefully that will be true. So this palette features Natasha's most vibrant, bold, rich violet and fuchsia hues, and tricky to use purple pigments, as we've already said. We have vivid violets, pastel lavenders, rich fuchsias, orchid pinks, and Natasha's iconic pro-level user-friendly formulas, featuring 2 sparkling foil shades, 2 duochromes. One of them is a unique graphic design shade assembled with new filling technology for a custom duochrome, 1 metallic, 1 wet effect, 1 crystal sparkling topper, and it also debuts this new silky matte. So we've got a lot of top formulas here, and if you know me, you know I am a massive fan of Natasha Denona. I think she's my, well, I know she's my #1 eyeshadow person. She is the queen of eyeshadows. For the first time ever, I had an issue with my order though. When I order from Natasha Denona's website, I always pay for the express delivery because I want to get it here quite quickly so I can review it for you really. But this time it was delayed by about 4 days, so I felt the express delivery was charged a bit unfairly because I didn't get it quickly. It's only just got to me. So you've probably already seen a million reviews of this, but anyway, I'm still going to put this out. But the other thing that happened is this one here had actually crumbled. So I've lost a big chunk of the eyeshadow and it was sort of all over the place, and you can see it all over the mirror here, but it was actually powdery all around the edges. So I've lost, I can still use it, but it's a bit of a mess. So I was a bit disappointed with that. So in my swatch video, you'll notice I haven't done a close-up of the palette. So that was a bit of a shame. But I wrote to the Natasha Denona customer service, and within 1 hour, no questions asked, they gave me a full refund on the entire palette. So I thought that was really good. So I've just got 1 damaged powder and I haven't paid a penny for the palette. So thank you for that, Natasha. I thought that customer service was excellent. So a couple of problems, but something very positive. So hasn't put me off ordering from Natasha. Fingers crossed the next one has no problems. I've never had a problem before. So by now, if you're interested in this palette, you've probably seen a ton of comparisons. So I'm not going to sit here now and do a ton of swatch comparisons, but I'll just point out a couple of palettes in my collection, which you might have, which might already have some of these shades, or you just want to see them side by side. So one that probably is the least similar is this one from Viseart. This is the Paris Reveries, but I've pulled this out because it does have some of these sort of purpley shades. So you might want to create a look using colours similar without actually buying the palette. So this is why I'm just pointing these out to you really. So here we have Paris Reveries up against the Roxa palette. So you can see there's a little tiny crossover there with the mattes more than anything, the purple and lilac mattes. And I have the Viseart Violette Vespertine, I believe it's called. Not much in the way of matches with this one either. This is the only Violette I've got though, I didn't get the other one. So here's the comparison there for you. I've got the Natasha Denona My Dream palette. There's a couple of shades in here, you might find a few similarities. Not a lot, admittedly, but if you wanted to pop out your Natasha Denona ones, because obviously you can, with these holes on the back, you can just pop them out and create your own palette. So you could probably do that with some of these. So we have a few sort of purpley, there's a shimmer there that's quite similar, you can see, and the magnets are not letting me put these together, it's so funny. And the sort of deeper sort of burgundy red matte, there's a bit of a similarity. So you'd probably pick up a couple of shades from the My Dream that slightly match. And then we've got the Retro palette. So this is more the sort of red and pinks. I think you're going to find a few similarities here. So not a massive similarity, but if you look at the sort of reddish pink matte we have at the top, they're a little bit similar there. And the maybe the shimmers, a couple of the shimmers there, the pinky shimmers, slight similarities. You could pick up a few from that. And then the last one, the one that everyone's been talking about really, is the Love palette, which was still available on the Natasha Denona website, even though it was limited edition. It was available last time I checked. So anyway, here are those two together. So people think these look very similar, but you can see quite clearly here that the Love palette is a lot more warm compared with Roxa, but you will find a purple in this which would probably match up with the Roxa, and the sort of red coral matte slightly match up. I'd say that the red in this one is a deeper, cooler, it's definitely warmer, the red in this one, very much a Valentine's red. and maybe the pink shimmer in Love is slightly match up, and there's a pink matte, a light pink matte. So there's a couple of there. So I think if you have all of those, you could probably almost recreate this if you wanted to play around and do that without buying it. So that's one option. And the last one I'll show you is the Huda, and this is the Rose Quartz. So here we have, sorry about the state of these with all the fingerprints in the mirrors, but anyway, here we have the Rose Quartz against the ROXA. So if you just have a little look here at these shades, you're not finding that deep rich purple in the Rose Quartz, but it is a Rose Quartz palette obviously, so you're getting more the pinks that might match up, not so much the purples. Although this one here does slightly remind me of the one in the middle there. In fact, I'm curious enough to do a swatch of that one. So that's one of these Huda duo sort of colour ones where you mix the two together, this one. And if I compare this to the new formula from Natasha, which is less wet, I can tell you now straight away compared to the Huda. Here is the Natasha one and here is the Huda one. So not massively different, but the one from Natasha is lighter. So you could get a couple of looks, purple and pink from this, just you're not getting that rich matte purple. So I'm not a fan of pinks and purples. I am a fan of lilacs though, and I am a fan of sort of light pink shimmers. So I'm hoping I can still create something with this that I might like. I really, really hope so. But before this arrived, I did go through all of these palettes to try to find colours similar to create a pink and a purple look. And I have to say, I didn't like either look on me. I don't think they suit me. So my fear with this is that it's a very beautiful palette that might work beautifully on many people, but it might not on me. And it might make my looks make the palette look dreadful. So I'm really hoping that's not the case. So do bear in mind, if you're a different sort of skin tone, different eye colour to me, you may find if you've got sort of brown eyes, deeper complexion, that it works so much better for you than it does for me. So this is not my colour, but as you can see, I'm wearing all of these colours today, so we're really going to go for it. We are going to give it my best shot. I am going to give it, not we, I. Shall I just say we, so I'm bringing you along for the ride and blaming you because I did do a poll here on my community tab asking, do you want 2 purple looks or a pink and a purple? Hoping you'd all say 2 purple because I don't want to do a pink. But most of you said, I think it was about 60% of you said you want one of each. So one of each is what you want, one of each is what you'll get. How I will look is a completely different matter. So let's get started. I'm nervous about this, I really am. So I want to see what this purple matte is like, this new silky matte. So I'm going to start right away with that, the Jacaranda. So I've got the 01 Rapha brush here. Now, if I started with, say, this shade here as my transition, this would then go on lighter. So I'm doing probably the scariest thing for me, which is to go straight in with this so that it's not going to be lightened by a transition underneath. You're going to get the exact Jacaranda colour here. And I'm just going to pat it to start with, and I'm hoping I can just slightly build this up. So this is the Silky Matte formula, and this is in something called a medium violet, medium dark violet. So from that first tap, it's not actually too scary, is it? It's actually a nice shade on me at the moment, so that's quite a promising start. And that is going on like silk, that really is. I mean, look at that, I've hardly touched it and I already feel like there's no patchiness. I mean, purples, you tap them on, they look dreadful. You blend them a bit, they're still patchy. Then you keep blending and then you just about get there. This one, there's no patchiness before I even started blending. So that is a very, very, very promising start for this formula. So I'm going to take this in the sort of outer V area. I think I can actually risk going back in for a little bit more. So I want to be able to see this purple above my lid when I got my eyes open, because I do have hooded eyes. So I'm just making sure with my eyes open that I can see it a little bit here, and then I'll just bring it out a little bit for a wing here. Not a wing, sorry. To give myself a bit of a lift here. Building it up a tiny bit more now. Actually very, very, very easy to work with and nowhere near as scary as I thought. And I'm really glad now I didn't put some sort of shade underneath first. I'm glad I started with this because I don't think I would have liked it to have been any less, I wouldn't have liked it to have been muted and reduced in colour. So I wanted to get the purple. Look, I do really like that, you know. Someone who's scared of purples, this is going on beautifully and I love the colour at the moment. I'm not looking at it on my skin tone thinking this doesn't work, so that's a really good start. Now with my Refa 14 Mini, I'm going to go into the other shade that scares me the most, and that's this one here. This one is called Cerise, so this is another silky matte. I'll literally be tapping on that. So this is a medium dark muted fuchsia, and what I'm going to do with this is just ever so lightly take it with this brush across the top of the purple. Now this is the only way for me, I think I would use this sort of shade. I would never use this sort of red built up in the outer V. I will be trying a sort of pinky look for you, but I will not be building this shade up in the outer V. This is how I would use this sort of colour. Just mix it with the purple, but just as a sort of ombre effect between the purple and this cerise. And I think that was a good decision because I really like the way those two look. So it's like a little line above. That tiny bit there, I really like those two together. So there we are, I found a way to use the colour and I really like the way I've done it actually. I think they work nicely together. What do you think? So far so good. So I'm going to take the Refa 3 with Jacaranda. I'm expecting a lot more colour payoff using this sort of denser brush. And now I'm going to run this underneath. And now we should see a bit more payoff from the colour. Yeah, it's looking a bit darker. It's not terribly dark though. So I don't think this purple will ever be a really sort of deep purple. I know it's described as a sort of dark, is it dark violet? Yeah, dark violet. I mean, violet is a very light sort of colour, isn't it? So even if it's a dark violet, it's never going to be very dark. But you can see here what this looks like if it's built up. And I'm using this Refa 14 brush with just a tiny bit of what's left of that cerise to just sort of buff this out and smoke it a bit here. So I was thinking I'd need to now go in with a lighter matte, maybe this or this, probably this, but I could use this one as well to go here to soften the edge, but I don't feel like I need to. I think that cerise colour has softened the purple without me wanting to soften it, so that's quite surprised me actually, so I'm going to leave that. I think what I'll do next, seeing as this is my purple look, I'm going to try this sparkly shade. This one is called Concord. Sparkling Foiled Medium Violet, so it's another violet, but sparkly, and I'm going to take this more in the outer section to sort of carry on that violet shade, but with a more glittery, shimmery finish. That is actually really pretty, isn't it? Now these are the sorts of ones where you do have slight more risk of fallout, so I'm definitely using my fingers for this. I'm not going to use brushes. I never use brushes for this sort of formula. I love the way that it sits when you apply it with a finger. You get more payoff from the colour, you get more shine, and you get less fallout. So that is gorgeous actually. That is really nice. So now I'm going to go for the colour I was probably most excited about after swatching, and that's this one here in the middle. This is the new formula Bolt. So when you mix these two together, you end up with this. It does say you can sort of choose how much purple and how much of that sort of silvery shade you get. So if you went in with a fine brush, maybe for lining, you could try that. In fact, maybe I'll try that in a minute. So I'll try that underneath, see if I can just get one of the shades. But anyway, this one is called Bolt, and this is a sparkling foiled graphic designed violet and silver. So we're sticking very much with the violet. This one should now be a bit lighter than the one I've used. Oh, isn't that pretty? That is stunning. I think that's beautiful. It's not a wet formula at all, like I said, like you get sometimes with those ones from Huda. I think I put a little bit more on. It's quite dry, but not in a drying sense, if you know what I mean. It's not too dry. and applying incredibly easily. I mean, you can see how all of these have just blended together without me doing any work really. But with this being quite a deep sort of purpley look, which is usually a bit dark looking on me, I need to brighten up now. So I need to choose either this one or this one for the inner corner. I think I'm gonna go for this one. So this one is called Stargirl, a sparkling foiled duochrome pink with bronze champagne shift. Sorry, I have to look at my phone to get these shade descriptions because they are so long. I'm hoping this will give me a pop of light, which I think it is. This is the first sort of introduction of pink on the lid. So we've got that sort of reddish cerise here, and then we've got the pink here. So we've got a sort of combination. It's mostly a purple look, a tiny bit of pink and a tiny bit of slightly reddish shade. I think that is a stunning, stunning colour. I mean, look at that combination. For a palette I was scared of, so far I am loving it. I really am. I'm going to try what I said with this one now to see if I can just go into the sort of silvery section here. I'm using the Refa 23. I'm going to pop this underneath here, sort of going over the purple. And you'll be able to see it more in this section here where I don't have the violet matte. So you can see that it is just more of a silver. So you probably can do that, but I'm not convinced that at some point they won't all swirl into one in the pan. I don't know until I've used this more. That is sort of giving me a silver, which shows that this is one of these shades that you can pretty much customize. I would like to get a pop of brightness in the inner corner now without using a sparkle, because I think I've got enough of that sparkle from the Stargirl. But also I think it's a little bit too pink for my inner corner. So I'm going to try this one, I think. Sorry, that was Stargirl. I was pointing at the wrong one. It looks a bit white in the pan, but once it's on, obviously it's got that pink in it. So I'm going to use Phoebe. This is the Silky Matte formula, and this is a light lilac. So I've been preferring doing this lately in the inner corner. Yeah, I think that's just about right. So it's not two colours. I do like to have a white here, but I think that just about works. I'm also going to bring it up a little bit here, sort of connecting it a bit with the purple lilac. I keep calling it purple, but it is violet. It's not even lilac. I'm getting all my colours muddled. Just to sort of blend it together there a little bit with the violet. Yeah, I think that works nicely. I might try a little bit of that. So that's the lightest matte in the palette. A little bit of it here. I don't know if it's bright enough or light enough to really do much there. Yeah, I don't know if that works actually. Not needed under the brow. If anything, it's darkened it, not lightened it, so it doesn't work for that. That's the one thing this palette is lacking for me. It doesn't have that sort of light shade, which I like to have under the brow, so I am going to dip into my Black Diamond, which I can't stop using, from Tom Ford, and use the light one for that here. So that is how that is looking without any sort of liner, just with the palette. And I've got to say I actually love it so much more than I thought I was going to. I think I would like this probably with a black liner to go in with that sort of finished look if I wanted to make it more of a really glam party look. But what I might try for today, if I use the Refa 23, is the darkest matte in this palette, which is this one. So this one is Eclipse, and this is a silky matte deep purple, but it gave me the impression it almost looked like a dark mauve. But it's very dark for a purple, and hopefully it's just given me enough depth to be a liner. I think it is actually. So I'll take up a small wing and then just take it across here and tight to the lash line. Yeah, I think that worked really well. So far, every single thing I've tried has worked well together and also blended out so quickly. I've had to do no corrections. I don't feel like I need to go in with a concealer to tidy up. I haven't had to remove any fallout. So more than 10 out of 10 for formula. This is a million out of 10 for formula for me. This is spectacular formulas, really is. Anyway, I think I will leave that now. I will put mascara on when I've done this eye. So I'm just going to brush off these brushes. I want to stick with these Rapha brushes because these are the ones I've been using the most. I'm the most familiar with at the moment, so I don't want to change brushes. So now for the slightly pinker look, I'm going to layer starting with lighter and building up to darker, which is the complete opposite of what I did with this one. So I'm not going in with a dark one, I'm starting with this one. This one is called Sweet Pea. So this is described as a light, medium, warm lilac. So let's see what sort of payoff I get from this. I'm using the Rapha number 1. So again, this is another lilac. Well, I say another, I keep confusing lilac and violet, but we're still in the purple sort of territory. But it does look more pinky when you look at it in the pan. And it does look quite pinky on the eyes, doesn't it? So quite a reasonable amount of colour as a transition, this one. So you do need to go lightly if that's what you're using it for. But it's blending out extremely easily, just like it did. Just like they all did with this look here. I want to take this relatively high. So I want this to be a real base over most of the eye, just leaving a little bit beneath the brow. But I'm not taking this onto the lid itself. I'm taking it for a sort of lift up there. And then across all of this area here, so that when my eyes are looking straight at you, you can see quite a lot of this above the lid. And with the Rapha 3, I'm running Sweet Pea underneath as well. Now this is where I will look probably quite awful because these are the colours that just don't suit me. But we will be adding depth to hopefully make this work. I do think this is a super, super pretty colour though, I have to say that. I don't think it suits me at my complexion, but I do think it's a super pretty colour. But hopefully we can make it suit my complexion by adding something else. So with my Rapha 15 mini, I'm going to go in, I think, with, I'm going to try Orchid. A silky matte medium purple. So I'm just going to start by just tapping a bit of this here. So I'm using Orchid to build up a little bit here. So we're getting definitely more pinky by adding Orchid. So far this is definitely looking more pink than purple. But again, blending together with so little effort, it is quite bizarre. I really want to find a way to try all of these colours for you, and I'm not really convinced this can work, but I'm going to use this one just so that I can try it. So this is warm again. This one is called Heather. And this is also, this section here is the sort of pinky section of the palette that looks more pink. So this is why I'm trying to add it in. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did on this side and add it slightly above using this fine brush, the 14 mini from Rapha. So this is described as a dusty coral rose. So this is the first one that's really got the sort of shade description of a pinky shade, a pinky coral. So I'm just going to take a little bit of it here to have the same sort of ombre effect I got there, hopefully. And this is how, again, I would use these sorts of shades for me. I wouldn't use them in any sort of great depth because, well, because I just don't really want to. I don't think they suit me, but this is one of the ways I like to use colours like this. So you can see it has sort of worked, not quite as well as it did here when I used this cerise. Was it cerise? Yeah, I used cerise on this side. But anyway, I'm quite happy with that sort of ombre of different shades there. But now I need to add a bit of depth. So I'm going to go back in now with the Rapha 15, and I'm actually going to try a tiny little bit of this deep shade here. This is Eclipse, that matte deep purple. I don't want a lot of this, but I want enough to deepen this up so that it will work for me, because this will hopefully give a bit of contrast to the pink so that it doesn't make me look unwell. Again, really not taking much, just tapping a tiny, tiny bit. So I've just only tapped into the colour, but it is giving me that bit more depth, look. And again, just adding a little bit more, just one tap in, and I'm just going to keep going into this sort of outer V. building up a little bit more depth there. No fallout as well, again with this really dark colour, so that's so good. But that's given me the depth I was looking for. So now I can start moving on to some sparkles. So the pinkier sparkles, probably the deepest one, is this one. This one is called Brink, and this is a sparkling foiled pink. So I'm going to take this on the first part, just tapping and then actually gliding my finger across. Oh, isn't that utterly glorious? I'm actually taking it across the whole lid so you can see how the sparkles look on top of the deeper shades there. That is lovely. And then I'm going to take Flutter, and this is a sparkling wet effect lilac pink. I'm hoping this will just give me a bit more brightness than the other one. So they won't look completely the same. They're not looking very different though, are they? Gosh, I can't hardly see any difference there. Well, that's a shame. You're getting that wet look because it is that different formula, so it's a bit more of a shiny finish, but it's not really very different in colour, so I feel like I've got an entirely pink lid, which is a shame. So with hindsight, I probably should have gone in with Regal or Dixie. I'm going to put both of these on my finger and just have a look at them. This one here is Regal and this one here is Dixie. So looking at the two of them, I think Dixie might be the one to give me that pop of light. I don't know how to do this. Let me try a little bit in the middle. So Dixie is described as crystal sparkling warm pink with blue and purple specks. So you can definitely see a pop of light here. That's definitely brightened things up, putting that one in the middle. But I think I probably should have gone with that in the inner section. And I know I say I much prefer a matte in the inner corner, which I do, but because I want that brightness, I think I will go back in with Dixie on my 207 brush, my BK 207, and just take it here to see if I can get a bit of light. Yeah, I think I am getting that. It's light if you catch it in the right spot, because from some angles it's a bit pinky, isn't it? But so I'm not going to say that's my favourite inner corner shade. It sort of works. So I do like that pink look, I just don't love it. I need to add a liner, so I'm going to use the Refa 23 and I'm going to go back into Eclipse, the deepest shade here. So this is that deep purple, and this should hopefully give me a nice strong line like it did on the other side, and this should transform the look for me and make it work, hopefully. And as I did on the other side, I'm going to be bringing this up. So this is the only shade in the palette for me that works as a liner. That Jacaranda purple is just not deep enough to be a liner for me. And I'm just taking the Refa, I keep forgetting the numbers, 14 mini, just underneath a bit to just sort of slightly smooth this out. So before adding mascara, these are my final looks. Which one do you prefer? I know for me it's definitely this purple look. I love that one. And then we have the pink, but the pink doesn't horrify me quite as much as I thought it would. I do quite like it in all honesty, but I think if I was going to go back in and use this completely for me without review, I would probably be using these two deep shades. They're both the sort of deep purple, deep violet, to use a build up here in the outer V, not so much these pinky shades. I don't think I would be using these for that purpose again to create this look, but I do quite like the way that I can use these to go above the purpley shade to give that sort of ombre effect. I do really like that, so I do think they have a place here, and I really like the way it's given me that slight touch of red there above the purple. I think it works well, so that's how I would go back and use these for myself anyway. But as with most Natasha Denona palettes, probably the best way to do this is to pick your outer sort of deep shades like these, and then just choose a sort of almost one and done. It's not quite one and done when I've just said use a matte in the outer V, but across the entire lid. You don't need to have multiple shimmers, and sometimes these shimmers really need to be across the whole lid for you to really truly appreciate them, which I think was obvious on this pink one, where I've ended up using 3 to find the look I wanted. I would love, for instance, to try this Dixie across the entire lid. Maybe this one would look nice as a sort of topper across a matte, so I could possibly have, say, the lighter shades to match the purple edge that I would prefer, and then have this all over the lid and top it with this. I think that could look really nice together. Lots of possibilities here, and I definitely feel I'll actually want to reach for this more than I thought I would. I do collect Natasha Denona and I do review them for my channel, so I do pick them up regardless, to be honest. And if I wasn't doing this job, I don't know if I would have collected this one. But now I have, now I've seen this look, I'm really glad I have actually. And I know I will go back in and create another look with this when I want a sort of purpley look. I do think you can get a lot of purpley looks, as we've seen from most of the shades. Most of them are the sort of violet, lilac, purple range, but we are getting more of a pinky look here. But you don't need to do that. You can incorporate pinks with purples, as I have here with this Stargirl pinky shade. It mixes very nicely with the purple without being a pink look. I think pinks complement purples, and that's the reason why Natasha has included them. And you can see that these sort of warmer shades can be used up here and in these areas to create that very sort of gradient effect, which I really like. So it's a winner for me, you know. The only thing I would want is a lighter matte than this to use under the brow. But I do think this matte here looked very nice in the inner corner actually, but I'd still prefer the sort of Tom Ford shade I showed you that I used under the brow. I think I need that to finish my look. But apart from that, I can't knock it. I think this one works well as a liner. So overall, it's given me everything I need and I'm really pleased with it. So I'll just quickly put mascara on and you can see the final look. So there's the final look with mascara. And now I've added mascara, you know, I actually like the pink look, which I don't think I've ever really felt about pinks. I think when I used the pinky one from Pat McGrath, the Mothership, the most recent Mothership that was very pinky, I think that one won me over a little bit with pinks as well. So it is the sort of top level of eyeshadow that has the habit of pulling me to the pink side, if you like. But I don't normally go for pinks. They don't really suit me, but I do like this one on me. I'd love you to tell me what you think. Should I wear this sort of pink again? I don't know, because I do prefer the purple, but with the mascara now, I really like the pink. So which side do you prefer? I am really happy with the way both looks have come out. I was not expecting to say that, to be honest with you. Looking at the colours in this palette, I was really not expecting to like it, but I do. So that is the magic of Natasha Denona. She can make you like a colour you don't think you like, or that you don't think works for you, because she is just so clever. Well, these formulas are so good. These mattes are phenomenal. They are the best purples I've ever worked with in my life, easily. So if you've had struggles with purples and you love them, honestly, pick this up, especially in the sales now. So in the UK, we have those Sephora sales already today, and you've got the US Sephora sales coming up, or you might be able to get the Natasha Denona sale, which comes up, I don't know when exactly, but sometimes you can get 30% off. But this one's limited edition. If it sells out, which it probably will eventually, it's gone forever. They don't usually come back, even though I could still get the Love palette. So who knows? Who knows, indeed. But anyway, this is another winner for me. A winner much more so than I thought it would be for me. I don't like it as much as the Golden or I Need a Warm. I've got to be honest about that, because those are palettes I can use every single day of the year with everything. This one will be very specific to what I'm wearing and to the occasion, I think. But I think if I'm going for a purple pink dress or outfit, this is definitely something I'd want to reach for again. So well done, Natasha. You have pulled me over to the purple side and even slightly the pink side as well. So love that. So let's move now quickly on to the Merit perfume. If you saw my Will I Buy It, Won't I Buy It, this is probably the thing I was most excited about, because I love fruity fragrance. And when I saw that this was going to be pear, oh, I was excited. So let me show you the packaging on this because it is gorgeous. It's almost like having a piece of jewelry or a really nice ornament, because look how it's packaged. Look how gorgeous that is. Isn't it lovely? And look at the bottle. It is expensive though. You're only getting 30 millilitres here in the bottle, and that was £79, so this is not cheap. When this arrived yesterday, I struggled like crazy to get this open. So let's see what happens today, because this top, you can just pull it up, I think, or you can twist it if that's easier for you to, because it's quite hard to get a sort of grip on it because of the shape. So the only way I did it was by twisting it like this, holding it like that, and just pulling it like that. It's very stiff, so that's a big problem, I think. I don't like that. I'm hoping it'll loosen over time, but it's really not easy. So if I could elegantly open this, it would look great, but I can't. But anyway, look at the bottle. It's so beautiful, isn't it? I just love that it's lovely to hold. I knew that this was going to be something that was beautiful to hold. And well, we'll talk about the smell in a minute. So the notes, I'll tell you the notes straight away. The top notes are bergamot and pear, ombre or ombret, I'm not sure on that one, and aldehydes. And the heart notes, jasmine, rose, rosemary, violet and orris. And the bottom notes, vanilla, musk and moss. So this is described as a fragrance oil that melts into the skin for a pure, long-lasting scent that wears for over 12 hours, developed in Paris using the highest quality natural and safe synthetic extracts rather. Instantly familiar, yet difficult to describe. It's a balanced fragrance that wears close to the skin and evolves as you wear it. Inspired by modernist jewellery, the custom glass bottle is designed to sit comfortably in the palm of your hand, which it does. A nod to the tradition of fragrance as a timeless accessory. That's how it feels. It feels like a lovely accessory, doesn't it? Especially arriving in that box. So yeah, it's really, really lovely to hold. It's just it's lovely. I love it. This reminds me sort of Lisa Eldridge with the way she has her bottles designed. Very similar sort of idea, I think. So I tried this on yesterday and I can say it lasted reasonably well. I do need to try it a bit more though because it came a bit late in the day. But the first thing I noticed, which is music to my ears, is the pear. But instantly, it's fresh pear. It's absolutely, oh, it's beautiful. I love it. But it's got a sort of slightly spicy depth to it. So it's not a super light pear that maybe you'd associate with a summer fragrance. This is another really good sort of autumn type of perfume, I would say. It's lovely. It's a rich pear, I think. And you can pick up, I think, a bit on the rose as well. So if you like pear and rose, I'm mostly getting the pear, but I am getting a bit of that rose. It is really beautiful. I just think if you love these sorts of fragrances and if you love the smell of pear, then you're going to love this. I think it is really, really nice. Next week I will be filming my end of month reviews for September and October combined actually. So I'm going to make a point of wearing this pretty much every day until then. So if you want to have a better review from me on longevity and how I feel the fragrance might change a bit throughout the day, hold out for that review. So this is more of a sort of first impression because yesterday I didn't get enough time to test it. So first impression is absolutely adore it, apart from opening it. I love the way it looks, I love the way it smells, but opening it is a job and a half. But anyway, if I click it back down now, see it's a really big click and then it's, I cannot grip it like that. You have to twist and then do that, that's a lot of effort. See, I can't do it now. Ooh, I feel like I'm going to rip my nail. I really don't like the way that this is hard to open. That's a big, big problem. I don't like that. Anyway, see, such a big click. Why so stiff? It smells glorious and it looks glorious. So that's 2 big ticks for me. But look out for my end of month review. Like I said, I will wear this every day this week so I can give you a better review. So that is it from me for today. This is the review I've been the most nervous about over the last week, and with it being delayed I've had more and more time to get nervous about it, but I'm overall super happy with it. Natasha Denona never does me wrong, let's face it. I love Natasha, thank goodness for her, because she brings me so much joy with her eyeshadow palettes. I love using them, and even colours I thought I could never like, she's actually made me love using. So I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you already picked this up? Will you be picking it up? I would love to hear. Just quickly before I go, actually, I had this out to show you. This isn't a review, but if you are a purple fan, Victoria Beckham has recently launched a new Kajal liner. I put this out just to very quickly show you. I thought I'd do a swatch of it. This is in the shade Orchid. Now, from swatching this would look terrible in my waterline. It would make me look ill. But lined tight to the lashes and blended across the eyes, which definitely works very well. This could make a lovely shade. And I think what you could do if you've got this Roxa palette is you could put one of those lovely sparkly shades across the top. So if you know Victoria Beckham, you will know how creamy and blendable these formulas are. So this is the sort of shade you get when you blend this one out. So this one could look really nice, almost as a base eyeshadow. And then you could use it with a bit more depth across the lid. You could obviously use it in other ways, but one of the ways I think I'll be using this one, this is the matte one. It's not the jewel or the shimmery finish. This is just the satin finish, the satin finish. Yeah, so it's very creamy but not sparkly, so it'd look really nice with one of those sparkles across the top. So at some point I'll try and add that into a video. I've just got such a mountain of things to get through at the moment, and I'm actually away for a week soon, so I'm not sure when that will come to you. So I just wanted to very quickly just show you that shade if you're a fan of Victoria Beckham. So something to think about. Anyway, that's enough from me for today. If you've enjoyed this video, I really do hope that you subscribe to my channel. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so very, very much. I really do appreciate you all for staying for another one of my videos and helping me through this purple pink crisis. Anyway, I hope to see all of you for my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.